Welcome back to Inhibition and our Thursday video exposing propaganda in the media. Today, CNN is up to bat, and we're going to look at some lies and propaganda that CNN is promoting related to comments that they are claiming are anti-Semitic. It's time we talk about it. Alright, welcome back to the channel. Every Thursday we post a video breaking down lies and propaganda in the media. If you enjoy this type of content or any content related to conservative politics, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Let's jump into this. This is from the Anderson Cooper Show on CNN, and we're going to see if CNN is spreading lies and propaganda. So let's break it down.
Well, Georgia Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is at it again, comparing President Biden's effort to vaccinate more Americans to the Nazis, weeks after she supposedly apologized for comparing COVID restrictions to the Nazis. Now, here's how we got here. With COVID cases up now in 27 states, the Biden administration is launching a new door-to-door campaign to try and get more Americans vaccinated. Congresswoman Taylor attacked the program on Twitter, writing, and I quote, "Biden pushing a vaccine that is not FDA approved shows COVID is a political tool used to control people. People have a choice. They don't need your medical brown shirts showing up at their door ordering vaccinations. You can't force people to be part of the human experiment," end quote. Now, keep it honest, the brown shirts, also called stormtroopers, were a paramilitary group that played a big role in the rise of Hitler and the...
Now, before we go any further, I want to point out, notice he said that the brown shirts were also known as stormtroopers. Keep that in mind because you're going to see that phrase again in just a moment. But she referred to this door-to-door campaign to try to force people to be vaccinated to the brown shirts. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I am not defending Marjorie Taylor Greene in this comment. I think it's a stupid comment. I don't think it's a valid comment. I think it's just kind of tone deaf and ignorant, but it is not, first of all, anti-Semitic. I would not call it anti-Semitic, number one. And number two, they are making this out like this is a horrible comment from Marjorie Taylor Greene. We're going to look into that in just a moment. Let's dig a little deeper.
The Nazi Party in the 1930s as well as the 40s, which of course was then led to the Holocaust and the genocide of 6 million Jews and others. Greene's tweet comes weeks after she said this about mask-wearing rules at the Capitol.
You know, we can look back in a time in history where people were told to wear a gold star, and they were definitely treated like second-class citizens, so much so that they were put in trains and taken to gas chambers in Nazi Germany. And this is exactly the type of abuse that Nancy Pelosi is talking about.
Now, before we go any further, I want to say that comment was completely different than her comment about the brown shirts. Now, again, I don't agree with either one of these comments. I would say her comment about the gas chambers should be flat out condemned. Now, that being said, keep in mind the difference in these two comments. The comments about the gas chambers was worse because it was comparing mask requirements to people being gassed. The comment she made in the tweet about brown shirts wasn't about the Holocaust, but was about Nazi principles that the government is using, and that's a difference. Saying that wearing a mask is comparable to Jews being gassed because of their religious and ethnic background is horrific. Saying that the government is employing Nazi governmental techniques using brown shirts is not comparable. Two different comments. Keep that in mind.
Greene came under fire for that from both sides of the aisle, actually. She even got a rare reprimand from GOP House Leader Kevin McCarthy. So later, she decided to take in a bit of history and toured the U.S. Holocaust Museum. And afterwards, she seemed to have learned a lesson. Here's what she told reporters.
There is no comparison to the Holocaust. And there are words that I have said and remarks that I've made that I know are offensive, and for that I want to apologize.
There is no comparison to the Holocaust, she said there. So, well, so much for that today. Asked about it today, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said, quote, "We don't take any of our health and medical advice from Marjorie Taylor Greene. I can assure everyone of that," unquote.
Abby Phillip is anchor of Inside Politics Sunday, and Bill Kristol is editor-at-large of The Bulwark. Bill, a trip to the Holocaust Museum, then an apology, now doing it again. I struggle to...
Now, I want to point out she's not doing it again. It's a completely different type of comment. A completely different type of comment. Keep that in mind. One was actually talking about the act of killing Jews and the Holocaust. The other one is talking about Nazi military strategy that even began before the Holocaust. Not the same thing. Keep that in mind.
Understand why this could possibly continue happening. One doesn't just come up with a reference to brown shirts.
I mean, she believes that the current American government is a dictatorship, but full of people who have ill will towards their fellow Americans. I take it she believes that people who work for the CDC or public health organizations at the state level who might try to get people to take the vaccine are morally equivalent to people in the Nazi regime.
Now that right there is nothing but propaganda. She wasn't talking about the CDC and people who are scientists and medical experts. She was talking about Joe Biden sending people under his authority to people's homes door to door. Not scientists and medical professionals who say you should get a vaccine, but the government, Joe Biden and the government going door to door to try to convince people to take it. Now, again, I don't agree with her comment, but saying that she thinks that people who are medical professionals who want people to get the vaccine are comparable to Nazis is completely a lie and nowhere near what she said. It's propaganda. Now, we can keep going, and you can go watch this. The video will be in the link below. But I really want to point out something important. They are saying she's anti-Semitic. They are saying she's terrible for comparing Joe Biden and the government to Nazis, and how dare she use the phrase brown shirts, and how using that phraseology, so terrible. How dare someone who is a representative in our government use that language to describe a sitting president? Horrible. Now, first of all, before we jump into a couple clips, I just want to point out, this is the same group of people who have had no problem over the past several months, since November, using the phrase, the big lie. The big lie is a Nazi phrase, and they say that Trump talking about the fact that the election was stolen is Trump's the big lie. Now, first of all, it actually shows their ignorance, because Hitler, when he said the big lie, he was using that phrase in context to the Jews, stating that the Jews were responsible for the big lie, and it was his propaganda technique to label the Jews as being promoting the big lie. So when they say Trump is promoting the big lie, they are actually putting themselves in the position of Hitler, calling Trump the Jew, saying Trump was the Jew who was promoting the big lie. So they're actually mocking themselves and putting themselves in the position of Hitler by saying that, but most people don't know history and just repeat the words that somebody else said, but that's beside the point. They are using the phrase the big lie to try to connect Trump to Hitler. CNN has done it. All these major networks that are on the left have done it. And it's okay for them to compare Trump to Hitler, but God forbid Marjorie Taylor Greene say something about Biden being comparable to Hitler. As a matter of fact, Let's go a step further. Let's look at some examples. Now, this is House Majority Whip Jim Clyburn. Again, House of Representatives in America. And he's comparing Trump and Republicans to Nazi Germany. Let's hear what he says.
We see an open fight with the media. Everything is fake news unless it is favorable toward this president. We've heard open discussions by him referring to himself as the law enforcer in chief. That we don't have that kind of stuff in this country. That's the kind of stuff that took place after 1932 in Germany. And I do believe that this country, this electorate, is not definitive. In this election, this year, this country could very well go the way of Germany in the 1930s. I really seriously feel that.
A year ago, you said that Trump and his family are the greatest threats to democracy of my lifetime. As a student of history, how would 4 more years be so debilitating to democracy or the things that you care about?
During his State of the Union address, Trump told 31 lies. Fully half of those lies, the Republican side of the aisle was standing up in cheering. They knew that was not true, but they cheered him on. I really believe that the people of Germany knew Hitler was lying, but they cheered him on. And before they knew it, they no longer had a chancellor, but a dictator. Anything that's happened before can happen again.
So he's clearly saying that Trump is Hitler and the Republicans are the Nazis. And that's okay. It's completely okay. Forget the comment about brown shirts. Let's just jump straight to Hitler. It's completely okay for a Democrat to sit there, a Democrat representative, to be able to sit there and claim that Trump was Hitler, and that's perfectly fine. That's not anti-Semitic at all. That's not disrespectful to the Jews who were killed in the Holocaust. No, it's perfectly okay to say Trump was Hitler. This is Representative Hank Johnson comparing Trump to Hitler in a New Year's Day speech. Let's hear what he had to say.
Vigorous resurgence of bigotry, hate, cruelty, and ignorance.
Adolf Hitler rose to power to lead Germany in 1932 after democratic elections. He rode a wave of nationalism and anti-Semitism to power. Replace anti-Semitism with all Latinos crossing our borders are rapists, drug dealers, and murderers. Does that sound familiar?
It actually doesn't sound familiar because Trump never said that all Latinos crossing the border are drug dealers, rapists, and murderers. That is a complete lie. But aside from that, he's literally comparing Trump to Hitler. He's comparing Trump to Hitler, and that's okay. This is a representative in the U.S. government, and that is perfectly fine. Not a big deal at all. Marjorie Taylor Greene says it. She's anti-Semitic and disrespectful to the Holocaust. Democrats say it. Nah, no big deal. What about Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House? Remember that phrase stormtroopers, where Marjorie Taylor Greene used the phrase brown shirts, and Anderson Cooper reminded us that another term for brown shirts was stormtroopers? Listen to Nancy Pelosi.
I said they acted like stormtroopers, and they did, and my colleagues have said that as well. I'm an organizer. That's how I came into all of this, chair of the California Democratic Party. And peaceful protest is who we are and what we do. And do some other people come along and try to disrupt? Yes. But you don't send in people acting like stormtroopers into the scene and evoking even more unease and unrest.
So she calls the agents and police officers sent in by Trump stormtroopers, brown shirts. The exact same thing Marjorie Taylor said. She calls them stormtroopers. And it's okay for Nancy Pelosi, but it's not okay for Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene says it's anti-Semitic. Nancy Pelosi says it, not anti-Semitic at all. Marjorie Taylor Greene says it, she's disrespecting the Holocaust. Nancy Pelosi said it, perfectly fine. It's a double standard of hypocrisy, and it is nothing more than propaganda. They are attacking Marjorie Taylor Greene, trying to spread propaganda that she is anti-Semitic, trying to spread propaganda that she hates America, trying to spread propaganda that she is disrespecting the Holocaust, to do nothing more than to smear her. It is propaganda, it is lies. But it goes further than just political leaders making these comments. CNN itself has made these exact same comments they are now condemning Marjorie Taylor Greene from saying. Here's Christiane Amanpour, who is a CNN anchor, comparing Trump to Hitler.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Christiane Amanpour in London. This week, 82 years ago, Kristallnacht happened. It was the Nazis' warning shot across the bow of our human civilization that led to genocide against a whole identity, and in that tower of burning books, it led to an attack on fact, knowledge, history, and truth. After 4 years of a modern-day assault on those same values by Donald Trump, the Biden-Harris team pledges a return to norm.
So yet again, here's CNN with their typical propaganda and double standard saying the exact same thing Marjorie Taylor Greene said just about Trump. Okay for them, not okay for Marjorie Taylor Greene. And just for good measure, here's another CNN clip of them doing the very same thing.
Sam, the idea of preserving heritage taps into historically darker times, certainly. Not only that, though, you say what we heard from the president in those remarks also could pose a national security concern.
Well, his statement makes me sick. On a personal level, preserving our heritage, reclaiming our heritage, that sounds a lot like a certain leader that killed members of my family and about 6 million other Jews in the 1940s.
Yeah, perfectly fine for her to compare Trump to Hitler and to the killing of the Jews, kind of like Marjorie Taylor Greene's gas chamber comment. CNN is engaged in propaganda. They will be perfectly fine with Nazi comparisons, Holocaust comparisons, using the comments about brown shirts or stormtroopers, all perfectly fine as long as it is being wielded against the people they politically hate. The moment someone on the other side uses the exact same language, it's now horrible rhetoric, disrespectful to Jews, anti-Semitic. It is nothing more than lies and propaganda from CNN. Don't fall for the ignorance and the lies that they want you to believe. Look further, go deeper, look into the evidence. I hope this video has been helpful. If you like this video, go ahead and click that like button. Again, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and comment down below what you think of this obvious double standard by CNN. And also comment down below if there's another example of propaganda from CNN that you've found. Love to hear about it below. Until next time. Thanks so much for watching. For more videos, click subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you enjoyed the video, click that like button. See you next time.